covers, different bands. My other sister absolutely loved the Beatles, so we had every Beatles album. And we also had a lot of Motown music, like Peaches and Herb and the Temptations. So we listened to a little bit of everything.
What about Elton John?
We did listen to Elton John, but I don't think we listened to him in the 60s. He was more not until the 70s, till I was a little bit older. And I also remember we would listen to the stereo, but you always had a transistor radio. You didn't have an iPod or a...
Really?
No, we didn't. They took batteries. You could carry them around. They were about as big as a camera. And everybody had transistor radios. And we would go outside and lay in the sun to get a suntan. And you would listen to every song. You know, that's where you learned, I guess that's where still kids learn about music, but there was no MTV or YouTube. So we had to figure out what songs were new by listening to the radio.
And what about the fashion? What kind of clothes and hairstyles did people have?
Well, everybody pretty much dressed the same, but I guess there were the young dressing and the old dressing. First I'm going to talk about how the older people dressed. All of the men always wore shirts, ties, hats, dress pants, dress shoes. One thing that always stands out to me is when you watch the Pirates winning the World Series in 1960, when you look at the crowd of people, not one person has on a Pirates t-shirt. They didn't wear that style then. A lot of the men have on their hats, their shirts, and they're at a ball game in the middle of the afternoon. Women wore dresses a lot, and they still wore hats and gloves. When we got new Easter clothes in the 60s, and that was, you know, once a year we would all get a new outfit. We got a real pretty dress, and we always got matching gloves and a hat, and we would always wear them and loved to wear them. Didn't think that it was odd because everybody else had one on. Then when I got a little bit older, towards the end of the 60s, we all wore bell-bottom jeans. We would go downtown Steubenville and buy a pair for $5 at the Attic. And I can remember embroidering on them. And you wore the same pair of jeans for 4 years if you could keep track of them. Somebody didn't take them or whatever. Everybody had on bell-bottoms. You wore black leather jackets and all looked the same.
Do you remember Twiggy?
I do remember Twiggy. And the main reason why I remember her is because my older sister cut hair. And she always got Hairdo magazine. And one month the magazine came and it gave step-by-step details of how to give a haircut just like Twiggy, which was a short bob. So I was her guinea pig. And she had the magazine out and we sat in the bedroom and she trimmed my hair. And from looking at pictures of Twiggy, in the front it looks like a really short haircut and pretty plain. But in the back, which you didn't see very often, there was actually one long piece in a curlicue. So she left one piece long, and I would put a little curler in it when I slept, and when I took it out, there would be a curl in the back of my head. So I actually had the first tail ever, because that became popular again in the 80s. And everybody would always say, "Did you know that they missed cutting a piece of hair in the back of your head?"
I didn't know she had that.
Yes, she did. It was just a long piece, and everybody that looked at me thought, now mind you, how could somebody forget to cut a 4-inch piece of hair off the back of your head? But it was a topic of conversation, and it was a nice haircut. My sister did a good job.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Anything else you'd like to add?
I just like to say that it was a different time. It was a long time ago. And just like everyone else, I hope they remember that their childhood was a good time and that times were better then. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that is the way that I remember it. It seemed simpler, maybe just because I was a child, but times seemed less hectic.
All right.
Thanks.